Even before actually creating charts in Excel, it's a good idea to start becoming familiar with some of the various components of charts and some of the terms you're going to see repeatedly as you work with Excel charts. On this particular worksheet here, we see some data. I've highlighted it in green, and this data is being reflected in a number of different charts on this same worksheet. The chart to the right of the data is a line chart, very common type. I'm going to click on it. And one of the things you'll start to recognize as you work with charts is as you move the mouse pointer around, and you don't need to click, and I haven't clicked here, but the term plot area has appeared just below the cursor. If I slide out into the green outer area, that's called a chart area. And nearly every chart will have those two areas. And I wouldn't say you memorize these terms, but you will quickly start to become familiar with them. And what's this title here? Well, it's a chart title. And how about this line? What's that line? It's a series. If you're near a point, it'll actually refer to a point and give you a reference back to the actual data as well. Here's a different series. There's a pie chart off to the right, and there's a chart area. The chart area is the outer perimeter area near the border. The inner area, and we don't really have to find it all the time, but here is called the plot area. Now, that's kind of vague. Think of that pie chart as being in a rectangle. And what's this piece of the pie here? It's part of a series. And you'll see these more and more. Moving back onto the line chart, maybe to the lower left corner, a very common type of chart, a column chart. What do we see down the left-hand side? A vertical axis. How about below the data? A horizontal axis. What do we see to the right many times in charts? You might see an individual series. If you move more toward the edge, that's a legend. No doubt you've seen those on maps before. The chart to the right of this is a 3D column chart. Colorful, not always the most readable. But what do we have in here that might be a little bit different? As I slide the mouse right here, that's a side wall. And sure enough, a back wall. And by now you probably figured out what's on the bottom. It's the floor of the chart. So it's not to obsess over this or to go to all the different chart types in Excel and figure out what every single item of it is called. But these terms generally fall under the category of a chart element. Each one of these is a chart element. And there will be times in certain charts when you need to make changes to these elements. Now, something new, or better yet, something resurrected in Excel 2010, when you want to make a change to a chart element. If you have been using charts in Excel 2007, one rule of thumb has been right-click on an element. Suppose in this line chart you want to make a change to this line somehow. If you right-click the element, you can go to a series of choices, and the last one is always the word Format, followed by the item that you right-clicked on. Then you can go there and explore within a dialog box some changes you might want to make there. Now you can still do that, and I showed how to do it here in 2010, but in 2007, what a lot of people missed was the ability to double-click on a chart element and get to a dialog box. That has existed in prior versions of Excel, and now it's back in 2010, and generally it's faster. So if I want to make a change to this line here, I'll point to it and double-click. And there's that dialog box, and you'll find that very handy. And it often is a fast way to get into that sequence of steps that you need to get to when you're trying to change an element. There will be times when you try and change a chart element, but you can't quite click on it. It could be a line that's kind of tiny, and maybe the chart's smaller and you're trying to click, and maybe you can't quite click on the line. I was able to do it here, but here and there, that's not always so doable. And there's a chart below this where it's particularly difficult. One of the series here is incredibly tiny. It's the miles per gallon. And it's hard to click on that, and you could easily fumble around a little bit trying to do that because you want to make a change. So something else to be aware of on the Layout tab, and we will talk in another movie about how this plays out, but you will see the term Layout, and the extreme left side has a drop arrow. And here are all the chart elements within that particular chart. So here's a variety of them. Again, you don't want to be memorizing these, but I think you'll quickly absorb the meaning of these various portions of a chart. So if you want to click on this element or that element, now in doing this, I clicked back on the line chart. So right now we're seeing the elements within the line chart. If I click back on the worksheet here, scroll down to this lower chart here, and just click this chart, and then go to that Layout tab, left button. In the current selection group, click the drop arrow next to whatever element is currently selected, and we see those other elements. So if we click Series MPG, then we could go ahead and make some changes there by the choice below it, Format Selection. So sometimes you'll need to go down that path. Now again, some of this is premature because maybe you're not quite ready to create charts, but becoming familiar with the terminology in Excel is very helpful, not only in this course, but anytime you pick up a book on Excel, you will see some of the terms that we've already brought out: chart area and plot area, and series and walls and legends and so on.